Hello, I'm Jarvis. How can I help you?
Hey Jarvis, can you go ahead and automate my entire life for me? Hey everybody, I'm super excited about today's lesson because in our last video, you'll remember we created this guy, our own personal assistant AI agent that we were able to interact with via Telegram. Now, Telegram is awesome. We could talk to it and have it transcribe our stuff via voice, or we could text it normally like we would any sort of messaging app. And then it would actually do the things we told it. It could send our emails, it could check our calendar, it could do internet research. And I told you in that video that we were going to improve on it in the follow-on video that you're watching now. And what that improvement looks like is this, a personal AI agent that we now interact with using ElevenLabs. And that's what you heard at the beginning of this video, me talking to Jarvis. And I love this lesson for a few reasons. One, I like kind of the visual simplicity of this version versus this guy. But I love the fact that we can now dive into Lovable and actually start building stuff on the front end, right? We're going to build an actual web app. And more than that, we're also going to dive into Supabase, right? We're going to start talking about databases. We're going to talk about authentication. We're going to talk about security. And then, of course, we're also going to be working with ElevenLabs, which is a really cool app where we can do all sort of this voice agent functionality. And you can begin to see how you could use this in other AI agents and other AI automations that you build inside of n8n. So how are we going to break this lesson down? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to jump into ElevenLabs and I'm going to show you how to set up your voice agent on that platform. Then we're going to go into Lovable and we're going to build out our front end. We're going to build out our web app. So all in all, we're actually going to touch on a lot of different topics in this lesson. And I really like that because it's not just stuff that's specific to creating a personal AI assistant with a voice agent, right? This isn't a lesson in a silo. A lot of these lessons and a lot of the things we learn here, you're going to be able to take to other workflows and other AI agents that you build inside of n8n, especially if they're ones that you want to put on a forward-facing, customer-facing website. So with all that being said, let's dive in and we're going to start with ElevenLabs.io. So I just wanted to give a really quick plug for the Chase AI community on Skool, which is the right place for you if you're trying to learn how to build AI agents and AI automations, but you're someone who's non-technical and just needs a little more help along the way. We have dozens and dozens of lessons here on AI agents and AI automations that are built for non-technical users, and you get help from me specifically. You get all the templates, you get all the prompts, and you also get access to a thriving community of AI builders and entrepreneurs who are trying to break into the AI agency space, so we would love to have you there. So here we are inside of ElevenLabs. You can sign up for a free account. I suggest just going with a starter account. It's $5 a month. It gives you about an hour of conversation time with your voice agent. And you're going to come on the left and we're going to go to conversational AI. We are going to go to agents. And on this page, you're going to see all your different agents. And to create a new agent, you just come up to the right, click new agent, and just give it a name. We're just going to call this demo agent. And we're going to do blank agent. They have some like pre-built ones here. And here's where you actually set up all of your AI agent stuff. So you can choose the language, you can add additional language. First message, we're just gonna have it say, hello, I'm Jarvis, how can I help you? This is just the first message they say when you start the call. So next is the system prompt, and obviously as all system prompts go, this is pretty important, right? So the way ElevenLabs is gonna work is, right, it's a doorway. We talk to it, well, really it's a messenger. We talk to it and it's gonna take our message, it's gonna take our query, it's gonna turn around, it's gonna hand it to n8n. Right? It's just going to be a tool caller. And it's just a cool way for us to call the tools because I like the ability to talk with an AI agent back and forth the way they let me. But we need to actually specify that. And there's other few random things you want to specify too, like how quickly do you want it to respond to you? Like you might think that's obvious. Like I say, hey, go send me an email. A normal person would say, hey, got it. Let me go do that right away. The voice agent might actually go send the email, then come back and be like, oh, hey, I did it. And we don't want it to do that. We want it to have like very quick responses. Tell me you got the, you understood it, and then go do it, and things of that nature. So I'm going to copy paste this system prompt in here, and we'll kind of go through everything it says. And obviously this is all going to be in the Skool as well. But we write persona, world-class AI assistant. What's your job? Understand the request, extract the details, send it to n8n. You do not execute tasks yourself. Now, that being said, you could have a completely standalone voice agent inside of ElevenLabs. I don't really suggest you do that. It's kind of limited because, again, just send everything to n8n. Let n8n do all the work. Tool. We will attach a tool to it. It's going to be called n8n. You have to list that. And then what's the process? Listen, clarify, extract key details. And I put some examples here where it will verify like, hey, what do you want the subject and body to be? What topic do you want me to research, etc. I also put in here like, hey, when you get a request, I want you then to immediately respond with, hey, got it, I'm on it. And B, then actually execute it, right? I don't want there to be any lag time. And then lastly, I hit it again. Don't perform requests yourself. Don't discuss the task status. And I also have a mention about timeout handling. And again, as all system prompts go, feel free to edit these as you wish. And I'm just going to put personal assistant up here. Do we need any dynamic variables? Not in this case. You can get kind of fancy. Okay, LLM. Now, you pay $5 a month for the platform, but the platform itself doesn't include API costs, similar to n8n. So you need to choose what sort of LLM you want it to use. I suggest just 2.5 Flash is good. It shows you the pricing per minute on here, which is pretty reasonable, right? 2.5 Flash is 1/1000th of a penny every minute. I think you'll be okay. I hope so. Temperature, we're going to go creative. You can have it be deterministic, like it always gives you the obvious response, or you can be more creative. Don't care about token limit. We're not going to add any knowledge-based stuff. Tools. This is going to be important. This is where we are going to end the n8n tool. So you're going to click Add Tool. You do Custom Tool. And it's going to be a webhook. So it's going to be called n8n. Description will be collect user requests and send it to an LLM. Now it needs some sort of webhook to actually do it. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to hop into n8n and we're going to go ahead and create that webhook. So here's your current AI assistant, right? So I suggest back out of here, find that AI assistant, just duplicate it. That way you always have that AI assistant hooked up to Telegram. And we're just going to call this one, Lovable or Lovable plus ElevenLabs, whatever you want to call it. It's just going to duplicate it. So now, once we're inside here, we can just get rid of some stuff. I'm going to get rid of this, and this is all gone. And we're going to add some webhooks. So webhook 1, we're actually going to have 2 webhooks on here because we're going to do a voice webhook and a text webhook through the web app. And then you also want to do a respond to webhook. So now you just want to drag these to the edit fields. And now there's some things we're going to add here. So first webhook, we'll call this voice. It's going to be post. And respond is going to be using respond to webhook node. And then down here, we can also switch this one to text. And this one will also be using respond to webhook node. And this will be post as well. Now, edit fields, we need to change some stuff. If you remember, right, similar to before where you had the text and voice coming in, you always want the same thing coming out of here that then ends up as the prompt for the AI agent. So go into the edit fields and we're going to change some stuff. So what we're going to have is we're going to have message and we're going to have UUID. So that'll be the message that comes from the voice agent, and then every single message, every single conversation is going to have a tag associated with it, some sort of identification that we use for the memory piece. Now we'll have to eventually map this when we run it once, but we can leave this blank for now. And you can come back in here, go to production URL, copy this, and then go back into here. And we're going to paste that in there. We're also going to put that to post. Then we're going to come down to body parameters. Now, the body parameters we're going to enable. Now, this is saying, okay, what data do you actually want me to push to your n8n backend? And how do you want that data to look like? What you saw in the edit fields that we just looked at, remember there's 2 big things we want it to give us, right? We want it to give us the message, and we want it to give us the UUID. And that's what we're going to add right here. So for the description, we're going to have it collect the details of the user's request, and we're going to add a property. The first one is going to be message. And for the description, it's going to be what the user is requesting to do. Next one is going to be UUID. And for the description, we're going to write create a UUID at the beginning of the call to act as a session ID. And we're just going to add the tool. Awesome. Next, you save. Then we can scroll up and we can do the fun part. We can actually listen to the different voices. So there's a billion different voices you can choose on here. And I went with Cornelius myself, but go ahead, search through them, play them. You can actually find more voices down here. There's a ton of filters. This is probably the best part of ElevenLabs is both the quality and the quantity of voices you can choose from. You can have multi voices, but everything else here you can keep default, and we'll save it. And the next one we're going to do is security. Now we're going to enable authentication here. And this is going to be just one part of the security measures that we enact with this voice agent. And why do we care so much about security? Well, this is a personal assistant AI agent that includes stuff like your email. Like, and we are going to put this online on the web. So we don't want just anybody to be able to walk up and use this thing, right? That would be a serious security breach if anyone just knew the website or even just happened to find out your login and password to the website and could start using it. And this is going to be one of the ways we're able to make sure that the right people are actually using this AI agent. And the right people means you and you alone. So we're going to check that. And there's nothing else we need to do here. We'll save it. And then for the advanced, it's pretty explanatory what all these things do. For the turn timeout, I pushed this to like 20. But you can kind of read through the rest of this and see if it makes sense to you, but there's nothing that you must do at this point. So save it. Widget, you can't add the widget in this case when we do the authentication, which is fine. What's the widget? Well, you'll see here on the bottom right, this need help start a call thing. That's not going to be available to us, which is totally okay. Now we finished setting up our ElevenLabs voice agent. So now let's actually test this guy. Come to the top right, do test AI agent, and let's actually call him and see how it sounds.
Hello, I'm Jarvis. How can I help you?
Hey Jarvis, can you send an email to Chase AI just asking him what's up?
Got it. I'm on it. Got it. I'm on it.
Okay, so you can shut it off after you do it. Not sure why it gave me the double got it, I'm on it, but we can kind of play around with that as it goes along. So let's jump back into n8n, look at the executions and see the latest one. And we can see here that we do have an error, which is expected. So let's go to debug and editor. So click here on the top right. And it's actually going to copy all that information in there and automatically pin it, which is super convenient. So first, let's look at the edit fields button. So we can see here the stuff isn't properly set. So message, we're going to get rid of this and we're going to map in the message. Whoops. Message is map, which is json.body.message. Then the UUID we see here on the bottom left as well. Pull that in there. And now we execute that step. We see that the message and the UUID are properly mapped. Now we go to the AI agent. Remember, we need to update this prompt. So this prompt is going to go from json.text, which we had in the Telegram setup. It's now json.message. So this is set up, and you'll remember from the last one, we now need to update the memory as well. And then it's going to be item.json, and it's just going to be .uuid, right? Edit fields .item.json.uuid, which in this case is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we got the memory set up, and we have the prompt set up. Sweet. So let's save it. And then you can actually run this to see if it would work. And you can see, hey, it hit the memory, it's hitting the model, and it's actually hitting the email properly. So now we have it set up the way it should be inside of n8n. Let's hop back into ElevenLabs and run a test one more time. Okay, so we're back inside ElevenLabs, so let's see if it actually works this time.
Hello, I'm Jarvis. How can I help you?
Hey Jarvis, can you check online and just tell me what the biggest headline news is for today?
Got it. I'm on it. The biggest headline news for today is that Harvey Weinstein has been found guilty of criminal sexual assault in his retrial.
Okay, well, he was able to get something, so let's again verify that it worked. Check our executions. So we can see the voice webhook worked the way it should have. Edit fields, it's getting everything like we expected. Boom, hits the agent, hits the chat model, memory, internet research tool. Cool, we know it's working on the back end and that we have that correct flow of data from ElevenLabs to n8n Perfect. Okay, so what's next? Well, we have the voice agent working, which is awesome, but like I obviously can't just go inside of ElevenLabs and every time I want to use it, go to elevenlabs.io, go to the test AI agent, run it from this UI. That's not very useful. I want to have my own website that I can log in, that only I can use, and I also want to add text functionality to actually interact with this agent using voice. And so the way we're going to do that is through Lovable. So now what I want you to do is I want you to go to lovable.dev, create an account, and we're going to start building this front end. Okay, so here we are inside of Lovable. And if you've never used Lovable before, it's an awesome web app that actually allows you to build other web apps simply through prompting. You just tell it what you're trying to build, it'll code it for you. It's iterative. You just talk to it as if you're talking with ChatGPT. And so this is what we're going to use to build our front end. And what you see right here is a basic prompt that I've given it. Now, there's a few sections, a few features that our front end's going to need, right? It obviously needs some sort of visual functionality, but we also need to talk about the Supabase features, right? How do we want those tables set up inside of the database? How do we want to do authentication? We're going to go into those parts later, but just to start, I'm just going to tell it to build some of the visual things that I want. And so this prompt is going to be in the Skool for you to copy, but I just say, hey, let's generate a visual front end. Here's what I want the theme to look like. You can edit that as you wish. I said I want kind of 3 placeholder pages. I want a landing page, I want a login page, and I want the main agent page. Then I talk about on the agent page, we want some sort of voice widget, right? Where we actually talk with our ElevenLabs agent. I want a text widget. And then I'm telling it, just make these visual placeholders. We'll actually go in and we'll do everything for real once you build out the visuals. So go ahead and do that. And while it's coding all that, I want you to go to Supabase and create an account. So right now I'm on supabase.com. Go ahead, create an account. It's totally free at the beginning, and the free tier is going to be more than enough for us. So once you do that, you can go back into Lovable and wait for it to complete its first run. Okay, cool. Here's the landing page it built us, your AI assistant. We can get started. It has a sign-in thing. If I hit get started, we can see it brings us to the voice assistant. So when we go ahead and talk to our AI agent and we do some text, this is what it's going to look like. Pretty good. Now, obviously, like we said before, this is all just make-believe. This doesn't connect to anything. There's no backend at all. It's not hooked up to n8n. This is just kind of like visual placeholders of what we want it to look like. And if you wanted to change it some more, like, hey, I want different visuals, I want different sorts of coloring, you just come down here to the bottom left and put that into the prompt. And while we're here, I want to draw your attention to some of the different ways you can interact with Lovable. So down here on the bottom left, as you've probably figured out, is the place you do the prompts. There's an edit button. So if I were to click the edit button, I can actually, bring up different sections of the page I'm looking at. Like I could click right here, the heading 1, and I can change the margins, do all these stuff. There's an advanced setting where I can do that. And then I can actually prompt it too. So you can get very granular as to what you want it to change. I'll go ahead and delete. Oh, cancel. Down here, you also have a chat option. So if I click chat, then I'm just going to talk with Lovable, which actually has Sonnet 4.0 under the hood without it actually coding anything. One of these things you'll notice when it comes to like these, web app building agents is you ask it a question and it just goes off on its own direction, just starts coding and building things. You're like, no, I just want to have a conversation. So oftentimes it's good before you ever implement anything is to go chat first, talk to it, get some feedback, make sure you're on the same page with AI, and then it will actually tell you, hey, do you want to implement this plan? You hit yes, and then we'll go through and do everything. So we are going to want to connect to Supabase. So down here, connect Supabase. We're just going to click that. And if that didn't pop up for you for whatever reason, right, for some reason it gave you a different response, you don't even see that. Up here on the top right, that little green sign, you can also do connect Supabase. So I'm gonna hit connect Supabase. And here you connect to your account, and then we're going to create a project. This will then bring you into Supabase and just give it some sort of name. I'm gonna call it Lovable Demo Project. Give it whatever password you want. Then we're gonna create new project. Once the project has been created, hop back into Lovable, connect to a project, choose your project, and then you can back out once it's connected. Now we're going to execute part 2 of this Lovable section, And that's going to be getting our Supabase, our database stuff up to speed. And so to do that, I have this prompt. I'll kind of put this in the center of the screen so it's easy for everyone to see. So I'm in chat and I said, now let's add the backend engine. What do we want to do? We want to connect to Supabase. So we've already done that. And as always, all of these, I cannot type. As always, all these prompts are inside of the Skool. Second, we wanted to implement authentication. We want a way for users to log in. So we're telling it, hey, I want you to set up the login forms. I want you to create these tables inside of Supabase. What do I mean when I create a table? That means it's creating essentially a database of users that log in with their information, like their username, their login, all that sort of stuff, right? Then we wanted to configure the database and security. So it's going to have row level security, which essentially means the only person that can access your data is you. Only the user can access their own data. Even if someone else logs in, they don't have access to everything else. So that is another layer of security, right? There's going to be the login security. When you go onto this web app, you need a username and password. That's one level. And then level 2 is the fact that no one else can touch your data, right? Just you. And we do all of that through Supabase. So that's all we told it. And again, you can just copy paste this in here. Just go back to a normal non-old person view. And I'm going to hit that. And again, we're in chat. So this is just going to make sure we're on the same page with the AI before it ever does anything. Okay, and here's what it came back with. And this is why I love Lovable, right? Because it pretty much says, hey, I understand what you're talking about. You can see that it checks all the code to make sure it knows what it actually has to do. And then it goes through and it shows you a step-by-step plan of how it's going to implement it all. Like if you were using something like Bolt like 5 months before, you would have to have pretty sophisticated prompting to have it output what it outputs right now. And it just does it all on its own. Like I am fully team Lovable right now. So I like what it's saying. You should like what it's saying. And if you do, you're just going to go down here and you're going to click implement the plan. It's essentially going to create that entire prompt. It's going to give itself its own prompt and it's going to begin executing the task. And so what's going to happen, let's put this back in with all our other guys over here. What's going to happen is it's actually going to go inside here, right? It's going to go into authentication. It's going to create some policies, which you see right here. And it's going to do all this automatically. It's even going to mess around with some of these tables. You don't have to do anything. Just with the prompt, it's going to go into Supabase on its own and execute all these tasks, which is awesome. So it shows right here what it's actually going to do and how it's going to create the tables and what it all looks like. What you're looking at is like SQL. If this is super confusing and you still want to make sure that this is all right, go ahead and just copy paste this into an AI of choice and be like, hey, does this make sense for what I'm doing? It'll tell you it's good. So we're just going to hit apply changes. Okay, awesome. It implemented all those Supabase features we asked it to, but there's one thing we still need to do manually inside of Supabase. So you're going to hop into here. On the left-hand side, you're going to go to authentication. You're going to see users, and we're going to manually add ourselves as a user. So you're going to go to add user, create new user, add your email, add whatever password you want. And then you're going to do auto confirm user. Yeah, so you don't get an email. Create the user. Boom, you're already in there. But we want to do one more thing. Actually, I want to be the only user. I don't need anyone else coming in here and doing any crazy stuff and creating users. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to go to sign in providers on the left, right down here in a configuration, sign in / providers, and you're going to uncheck allow new users to sign up. We are now the only user. Now, once you made it so new users can't sign up, you're going to do save changes, and then we're going to hop back into Lovable. Okay, so now we have the visuals done. We have the Supabase kind of backend database all ready to go. Now it's time to actually get some of the voice agent stuff in there so we can actually start using our personal assistant. So we're going to move on to step 3 of this Lovable portion. So here's the prompt that we're working with. We're telling it, one, create the secure backend function. So we're going to be creating a Supabase edge function called generate ElevenLabs URL, and it's going to have certain keys associated with it, an API key and an agent ID. Essentially, this is where we're going to be using our API key to authenticate us, so we're the only ones talking with that AI agent yet again. So yet another layer of security so no one's messing with our stuff. Second, we're going to be activating the front-end voice widget. And to do that, we're telling it needs to install the ElevenLabs React package, which you see right here. Use the @ElevenLabs /React package. And it's telling it, hey, when you click the microphone, I want you to call the agent so I can actually start talking to it. And then there's some UI stuff there as well, like, hey, connecting versus speaking and all that stuff. So we're going to send that prompt. And while that's happening, I want you to go back into ElevenLabs and we're going to grab our API key from there and our agent ID. So if you go back here to your agents, we get our demo agent, right? If you go down here, you're going to find your agent ID. So copy agent ID. And then if you should have this pop up in Lovable where it says add API keys. So you're going to put in your ElevenLabs agent ID. Now we need the API key. For that, we're going to go back to ElevenLabs. And what are we looking for? Where's my API keys? Here it is. Go down to your profile. Also of note here on the bottom left side where it says 27% for me, this is a indicator of how many credits you have left. So I've used 27%. This is how much I've used. So I have 73% left. Quick math. And then API keys. Let's create an API key. Let's call this Lovable test create, copy, back to Lovable, put it in there, submit. Lovable honestly makes this so easy. So let's see it get to work now. So it says the sign in. Let's sign into this guy. Close. So it says it's ready for the voice conversation. So we're just going to click it and see what happens. Oh, unable to connect. So let's see what the error was. I'm going to go ahead and say, looks like had a couple errors. What's going on? Okay, so we had a look at the errors. Says there was some issue with the React package and they changed the URL. So we're going to refresh this and see if it works. All right, so back on the voice assistant, let's give it a shot.
Hello, I'm Jarvis. How can I help you?
Hey Jarvis, how's it going, man? Can you tell me any interesting news from today?
Got it. I'm on it.
All right, I'm just going to stop it there since it was obviously working. That's super cool. And as always, let's hop into n8n and check the executions just to be sure. So here's the latest run. Voice, fields, agent, hits the tool, comes back, responds to us. Perfect, just what we're looking for. So we know the voice functionality is working inside of Lovable. And now the next thing will be is how can we have this also use chat? Well, that won't be too hard, right? Because remember, if we hop into n8n again, we kind of have this whole infrastructure already set up. The only thing we need to see is like, hey, when we do the text, is it going to properly come through with what we want, right? A message and a UUID. And we're also going to have to probably do some changes in the edit field. But once we do that, that should be working seamlessly as well. And luckily, we should be able to do all of this through Lovable. And so all we need to provide Lovable is three things. We need to tell it, hey, here's the webhook. And then we need to tell it, send it as a message, send the payload as a message, and three, send it as a UUID. And lastly, we should also tell it that the output will be in something like JSON. So let's go ahead and do that. We need the production URL, so copy that. So once you're back inside Lovable, you're going to tell it, hey, for the text capability, the webhook will be post, and then you go ahead and copy paste your webhook, and then you're going to say the text should send two things, a message and a UUID back to n8n, and also tell it n8n will respond with a JSON output. All right, so it says it's integrated. So let's go ahead and test it out. So, hey, what's up? Now, if it works on the first try, I'll honestly be surprised. You know, honestly, not bad. It looks like it gave us the output in straight JSON. So I'm just going to copy that and tell it, hey, this is what the output looks like. Can you parse it to make it look nicer? Okay, so it said it was able to refactor that code. It now can properly parse it. So as always, let's refresh it one more time and give it a run. Hey, what's up? Hey, again, not much. And what do? We do the same thing we always do. We go back in here and we check the logs. Now, I know this can be tedious to constantly go back and forth, but I can guarantee you this is a good practice to get in the habit of because you never want to get caught in a scenario where it's almost like fool's gold, where you think something is working and it's not, and you start going down a path you shouldn't. By simply doing this, it's going to let you know, hey, is everything working? And what do we see? We see it working just like it should, but there is something we do need to edit and it's actually here inside of edit fields. So we're just going to make a very quick change. We're going to go to copy to editor. We're going to come in here, go to edit fields, and we're just going to add a couple more things. Well, actually, first thing you're going to do is we're going to unpin this from voice just so it's getting the right data. And then I want to do UUID again, but this time it's going to come from the text module. So if we come down in here, it's going to be UUID, and we're going to pass it through. Now we don't have to change this message one because the message one is actually totally on point when it comes to the voice. If that's not the case for you, you would just add another field, call it message, and map it in. But we got kind of lucky and it passed it exactly in terms of like capitalization and all that, as did the voice. So that makes it exactly the same. And so now it will properly pass it to the AI agent and to the memory. So if you just hit save now, and we're completely done with the n8n piece of this lesson. Our AI agent now does voice, now does text, and we've now created a web app that integrates it all and actually has some security baked in. And we have all the Supabase stuff. We did all that, and it's now done. Now, there's one last thing for us to do, and that's to publish this bad boy. So, again, Lovable, coming in clutch. You come up here to the right, you just hit publish. You're going to do publish. There's a couple Supabase warnings. You can go ahead and dive into those if you want, but they're not going to actually affect you for this. And it's going to go ahead, and it's going to give you a link. Paste it in there. And voila, here's your website. Works just like before. We just need to sign in, put in our password, and here we are at the agent place where we can do our voice and our text, just like that. And so we now have a pretty cool AI agent on our hands. And the nice thing is actually is your Telegram stuff should still be working as well. So you now have two different ways to interact with it. And with this lesson, I hope you can kind of see stuff that goes beyond just this personal assistant AI piece. I hope you can start to see how you can build n8n backends, whatever they are, and connect them with Lovable front ends and use things like Supabase to really supercharge your project and give it things that if you're trying to build like a SaaS application or something that really generates revenue in a customer facing way, you will need to have. Like you need a way to bring in users. You need a way to have them log in. You need a way to deal with that data. You need some sort of security apparatus, right? And Supabase is an integral part of that. And Lovable makes it really, really easy to tie it all together. So I love this, integration. I really like this lesson, and I hope you did too. So go ahead, tell me how it worked for you. I'd love to hear what your issues were as well. Just leave them in the comments or wherever you can, and I'll see you guys around.